Bound here to the dream.
One of these days, it's like we're gonna say that we're gonna start the episode, and it's just gonna play that song, and just keep going and not cut off because like
Episode 6 is just Greenstone. Welcome.
You go ahead.
Welcome to the Twin Tail Studios podcast. I'm your host, Adam Sadler.
I'm here to tell you this is episode 5. I'm Brady Sadler, the other one that's hitting the buttons over here.
I didn't say a number, did I? I just said welcome to the podcast. So it's episode 5.
It's episode 5,
the podcast,
which is called "We Have a Book," or "We Have a Release," or I don't know, something along those lines.
You don't have to title every episode.
Yeah, we do. It's more.
No, we don't.
I like releasing things. Like I like titling things, naming things. So yeah, this is an exciting episode.
Why don't you release that obsession?
That's good. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to jot that one down. That's going to be a new Hour of Need scenario name or something. So
you just said it because you're looking at the shelf
It's
here?
always right in front of me. It's like right by your head. So yeah, we are back to talk about some fun stuff about what's going on with the studio, or again, the company. Studio is like the branding, but we got some fun news to talk about, some game stuff to talk about. But first off, let's just talk about something other than all that. What have you been up to? It's only been a week, I guess. Only a few days since we recorded.
Yeah, but it can't fall into those categories of things we talk about.
It can. I mean, it's just like
been working.
I'll give you a spoiler. I'm going to talk about my whole saga with the mod retro chromatic. So
that's definitely not interesting.
I think it's pretty interesting.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, you can talk.
No,
about.
I'll take inspiration from you.
Think about it.
Example.
So if you've been listening to the podcast, you might have heard my saga about the Freewrite company, which makes those really expensive typewriters that I love. I have 2 of them and I adore them. Like 2 of them, my favorite things that I own. I can't stop writing on them. Anyway, I had these like weird quirks where I just get something stuck in my head, and I kept seeing these ads for this thing called the Mod Retro Chromatic, which is like a very luxurious recreation of the Game Boy Color. It's like made out of metal. It's got like a really scratch resistant screen, and it's like the top of the line. It's like the best like niche product in that. So like I was always seeing these ads. I'm like, man, I want that, because not only is it a Game Boy, but the company also makes their own. They have like their own team of indie developers, and they release like new Game Boy Color games for this thing called the Chromatic. So it's like this whole recreation of this community of, you know, people who love that feeling of buying a product and having a little rule book with it, and it's a really cool feeling. And I was craved that. It's because I kept seeing these ads for it, and they got me. So I was like on the fence about whether or not I wanted to buy one of these because they're expensive. It's like $200 for just a regular one, and it's like $300 if you want the sapphire screen, which is like the next tier up is diamond level durability. So anyway, Adam was talking me out of getting this because it's a dumb purchase. It's like,
out of curiosity, does it have a rechargeable battery?
No, because here's the thing: it uses like AAA's, but you can get rechargeable ones, and it has a USB-C cord. You can buy a rechargeable pack if you want, but some people just prefer batteries, so they just made it with batteries. And I didn't want to buy the battery pack because I had tons of rechargeable batteries. But the fact that you can like plug it in and it runs off that power, it doesn't recharge the batteries, but you can pop the batteries out, put new ones in, and not lose your state. So it's a pretty good compromise, I think. So if you do want the rechargeable battery, you just got to pay for more. It's a luxurious product for sure. It's not like a bargain thing you're looking for. But anyway, I ended up having a couple cocktails and feeling good. And I, like on a Friday night, I was like, I'm gonna buy this, because I keep thinking about it. I'm just gonna go out and buy it. But the minute I did, I kind of regretted it. And then Adam and I were talking, and like when we were playing Xbox, and he talked to me, he's like, you got to get a return for that. I was like, all right, fine, I will. So I was looking into it. But then I also researched. I had no idea about this, but apparently it's made by an arms dealer. The guy who developed the Oculus Rift is he's a big MAGA guy, and he makes autonomous weapons, like the drone stuff. So it's kind of weird to like want to give money to somebody who kills people for a living, you know. So it's like there's that whole ethical quandary, but at the same time, it's like the dude put a lot of like real love and passion into this thing, and he also probably has a team of people he works with. So there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, whatever. But I felt weird about it, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna maybe return this when I get it. But I kept watching reviews about it, and I kept wrestling with this concept. So today I was like, I'm gonna make a compromise. If I can like make $200 off of things that I own, like off of games that I don't need, then I'll just keep it. And I went to Half Price Books with a load of Kickstarter games I don't play anymore, and I couldn't find buyers for. And they said, here's what we can give you. $200 exactly. And I was like, did you guys know
That must have
about
been a lot of games.
it was
for
quite a
half
few.
price.
Well, I mean, it was like a stack of like kind of junky like mass market games that the kids used to have, and I just wanted to get rid of. But it was also like it was a good portion of like Kickstarter games. I didn't pay for all of them because we get games sent to us sometimes, games we work on first, Anyway, so yeah, that's the. That was my saga. I haven't gotten this thing yet. It's in the mail. It's been shipped. That's why they couldn't cancel my order. Oliver sending me requests for Minecraft screen time. So
I was gonna say, I'm hearing like little notifications.
it was
sounds,
obnoxious.
but I doubt that it's gonna be like picked up by the recorder.
Yeah, hopefully you guys don't hear that.
But I thought it was my phone or something. And I was like confused.
So anyway, that whole thing opened this door where I'm like nagging at him now about like, oh man, I can use GB Studio to make games on there and make a Game Boy game of all my books. And
And to be clear, anybody who listened to this podcast or joined operations previously knows that I was very interested in video game development. So like, it's not something out of the question for me to be interested in. But then I decided to take my free time and devote to this company and starting this company. So I haven't been pursuing video game development, and I feel like it would be a huge distraction. So I'm kind of just trying to temper Brady's excitement in that regard, because I really like video game development, but it would basically take away time from what we need to work on.
It's not an immediate thing. It's more just because I've always like the reason I don't get too much into it because like modern video games, they're great. I enjoy them and everything, but like I don't have much like desire to create. But when it comes to like really minimalist like Game Boy Color charming stuff, I really like that. And the fact that like people are still making games for that specifically, and not only just for like a device like this, but also you can play those on your Switch or whatever platform you want. But I find that pretty appealing. So anyway, that I've been down this rabbit hole the last few days about this whole like mod retro gaming thing that I've kind of been passively interested in lately. I shouldn't say lately, most of my life. I've always loved the Game Boy, even though I've gotten rid of all mine, so I don't have any cartridges anymore. I gotta like recollect some. So if anybody has any cartridges, send them my way. That's what I've been up to. So that's my week.
Most of my week has been just work stuff, both day job and Twin Tail Studios stuff. That we'll probably talk about anyway. But there is some interesting business things that we're kind of pursuing that we probably shouldn't talk about just yet. But it's might open the door to some more opportunities for the company, which is cool.
I think it's safe to say that like we could be accelerating. No, I'm not saying anything specific. I'm just saying we could be accelerating the growing of our catalog, like quicker than we specifically planned. So.
Yeah, but hopefully we can make some progress on that and talk more about it. Playtesting for our Malice of Light Adventures has pretty much kicked off in full gear.
Yeah, don't go too deep into that because we're going to talk about that in the
yeah.
update.
See, that's most of my updates can't be talked about yet. So I played some video games.
Get a life. Get a life.
Outside. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all. I mowed the lawn today.
I was just saying, you mowed the lawn. I know you mowed the lawn.
Yeah. So outside of work and recreation, like video games and shows and stuff like that.
You need to pontificate more outside of careers, outside of media, and just pontificate a little bit. Don't make video games though, unless it's a Game Boy Color game. GB Studio, that's what you should focus on.
I mean, it's looking at it, it's very similar to Godot, so it's
a lot of drag and drop
stuff.
It's
nothing new. But,
so let's go ahead and dig into it, because you know what? This is an exciting day, because you'll be hearing this on Tuesday the 26th, August 26th, which is the birth of our first child together.
Helldivers 2 on Xbox.
Helldivers 2, and I guess Gears of War Reloaded Remastered comes out too. But yeah, it is the release day for Ransom Creek Remains, which is the first time Adam's going to experience the weird anxiety that goes with trying to push a release date, an independent release.
You mean a crippling depression of nobody caring?
Well, that usually comes in like waves, but this is cool because it's our this is our company. It's our first release with this company. It's our first book we've written together, so it's a lot of firsts. But also like we've been getting some good reviews. We'll put a little press release. You might have got my newsletter because that's going to drop today as well because it's Tuesday and it's release day.
Yeah, and this is not like any kind of like a guilt trip or like hey support us, but like it is important to know that these books that we're going to put out with the company, they're a very inexpensive way to support the company. Like it's spread the word of people that might, because the nice thing about Ransom Creek Remains is it's kind of a mainstream theme. Like
it's got a broad appeal, very broad appeal.
Lots of people like true crime, books or whatever. So you could recommend it to friends and family, and they might want to check it out. But anyway, that is a great way to to support a new company, because we can actually not just, make a little bit of money off of it, but also just spread the name around and get more exposure.
Yeah, grow that IP. Like reviews are a big thing too. So like even if you're not a heavy reader, because I know a lot of people who are deep into the hobby game scene, they don't necessarily also spend their time reading books, even though you should. Reading is great. It's a great escape. It's a great way to relax. But they make awesome gifts. Like everyone needs like random gifts for like either a white elephant or some like Christmas thing you're not planning for. Like I always tell people, if you don't read books, like still buy a book and support an author. But like that's an awesome little gift to give somebody, because good gifts are kind of a universal thing. Like you don't have to read it or consume it, but it's just something cool to have. So buy some books. Buy this book. It comes out today. We want to make some games off of it, but we need the money to make the art happen, because that's the biggest fixed cost is,
Well, I would also say that it's not even like money is like a pretty minuscule thing when it comes to these kind of book sales, unless it's like millions of copies, but it's more just about the exposure.
That's what I mean. Well, I equate that to like the numbers. That's a numbers game. So like the more exposure it gets, that's, if we do a crowdfunding campaign for a game, the money comes from the more people we have looking at it. So yeah, check it out. And like all that being said, as commercialism aside, like I just super proud of this book. Like it came together really fast. We wrote it like in a month. Usually I either have to write like really quickly, or I lose interest and I switch gears and do something different. So this one just worked out really well, and all the, like I said, the reviews that have been coming in, I've shared some, but just very encouraging. It's just cool seeing such a wide variety of people enjoying the story.
And we like to do more. Like this, I think there's plenty of stories to tell with these characters, so it'd be cool to do new. Do more.
Two of the reviews were like, I really hope this is going to be a series. And it's funny because when we were writing it, I was specifically wanting to write just a one-off story. But by the time we were done writing it, I was like, yeah, I think I want to do more like cases, because it was a good balance. Like it was a good balance of like just procedural cop stuff and drama and small town stuff, but then it also like really cool, atmospheric, eldritch horror stuff going on. So anyway, that is the big news drop for today. Was Ransom Cooker Man's coming out. I pitched Adam a game that I wanted to do for this, which was like a little card game. But we also have a buddy, Mitch, who we've kind of wanted to like. I think
we talked about this last episode about the buddy cop game that never got released, that we want to actually do a new version of with Mitch, because Mitch had a cool little design that I was really excited about, and it's a shame it never actually was released.
Yeah, and also Scott McFall from he used to work with us at Blacklist.
Who? You mean Scotty?
Scotty Mick. He was instrumental in getting Contra, the board game, out the door. That'd be a cool design too. Like not as specifically as Contra is, but like that, just kind of like that. That approach to it, that design philosophy behind that game would be a good fit also for Ransom Creek. So we got some ideas, but yeah, first things first, Malice Light Adventures. That's what our book's coming out today. But next up on the horizon is the Malice Light Adventures, the crowdfunding campaign, which hopefully when this drops, we can't say for sure, but I think maybe you might see a preview page, if not now, very, very soon. We'll see. I'd like to say that you'd go there now. Click on the link on this episode and go there, but I can't say that for sure until we've actually, because this is recorded on a Sunday.
I think we're going to try to do another push of a press release with the actual link to a preview page when it's up, so that way we can kind of get some more attention to the project and drive traffic to the preview page, get some followers, and all that fun stuff. But on top of just getting ready for that, we've been working on the design. The design is pretty much locked in now, like structure wise, and we started external playtesting. We've got some people up on the Discord joining in, and got a couple really active playtesters that have been knocking it out and giving us great feedback. We've already made an update to the Tabletop Simulator prototype. Brady threw in some more encounters to test.
Two of them fell apart really quick.
Did you make notes on those?
I gotta fix them. No, I know what the problem is. I just gotta fix them. So.
And hopefully with that next update, we'll have enough to start testing for. Because right now we've been testing solo and 2-player, and I'm very relieved at how well solo seems to be playing. Because I was kind of worried about it, because all the testing Brady and I did by ourselves was all 2-player. So we've had some solo tests that have been going pretty well. Got some Scotty broke the game unfortunately we had to fix it, but
That was good. Yeah, that was a good test.
I mean, not unfortunately. It's a good thing he did that because he ended up killing the boss in one turn. So.
We just watched him play solo while I was playing a Tomb Raider run. Adam was like kind of monitoring the rule side of things, but that was a good test last weekend. It's interesting though because you said like we have good feedback. It's when we say good feedback, it's like there's two different types of good feedback. There's like really thorough feedback, or like really positive, like I liked this feedback, and in this case it's like both. Like we've had really awesome thorough reports, but those reports also contain like, hey, I had a lot of fun, this is great, this feels really cool, this is like a good pace. So there's like little things to tweak here and there just to improve the experience and just kind of refine the design. But it's really crazy to think about, like we're just like, I don't know how many weeks we are into this project, because we just started. This is an interesting like way to time check things, because we just started this podcast when we started the company again, like right around Gen Con. So like we're on episode 5 now. We've kind of done weekly podcasts, so it's like almost the 5th week of this, and it's wild how well this has been coming together. It's almost like scary because you're waiting for some like big, speed bump to hit and they screw things up and throw you off track. But I mentioned last time how there was like the first couple weeks or 3 weeks, there was some lulls there where it's like, oh man, it's like you kind of get discouraged because you're not sure if you're on the right track and things feel like they're like almost cobbled together in a way. But then you hit these like kind of design strides and then everything falls into place, and it just felt like it was all pre-orchestrated and it worked out great. So it's kind of where we're at now, where it just feels like we have plenty of time to refine this and just kind of keep tightening everything up, expand into like 3 to 4 players, because like Adam said, like focusing on 1 to 2 is our early approach, because we've found from playing, like as game fans ourselves, that's kind of the trouble spot sometimes, where you have a game that doesn't really feel as like robust when you're playing lower player counts. So making sure that feels like a full experience playing 1 and then 2 players, I feel like it's easier, because even if you're adding extra time playing 3 to 4 players, most of that time is resolved once people know how to play the game. Once you're all familiar with the system, things will just naturally speed up.
I think that's the biggest downside to our approach, is because we don't do enough testing at 3 to 4 player, because we're just 2 of us, we don't like to double hand things. So like sometimes the games we design for a sweet spot for 2 players time wise go on a little longer than we'd like for 4 player. Or like our example, for the case of Hour of Need 6 player, that was crazy.
No, like,
I mean, it still plays reasonable.
No, I think it's weird. And 6 player, it can feel like a lot going on. But if you're like, you kind of lose track of time. But it's weird how every time we've tested 6 players, it clocks in almost the same amount of time as 4 player. Like it was just, like once you get the hang of things, then because it's kind of simultaneous, like 6 player, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. But if everyone's keeping up with it, it's just like it plays really fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how many people on our Discord like played Hour of Need and what their thoughts were on it. Like, do you like that game? Is that one that you enjoyed? Because we always thought that was one of our best versions of MDS, and I don't think it got enough attention. So I'm kind of curious, if you're on the Discord and you've played Hour of Need or you're familiar with it, like how would you rank that with our other like versus like Street Masters, Alter Quest, or Brook City, the other MDS games? Because I always thought that Hour of Need was probably the slickest.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Hour of Need is because it was our like lowest fund. It was like not ours. It was like Blacklist's lowest funded Kickstarter.
Was it lower than the first Street Masters?
Well, I guess no. I don't think it was, but it felt like it just at the time.
Definitely the amount of content we put into it.
Yeah, but like the people who did get it, I feel like were already fans, so there might be that kind of like confirmation bias where like I never really hear anything bad about it, but it might be because it's such a limited audience so far. Who knows?
Yeah, I think this one also fell at this bad time because it was like the same time as Marvel United was launching, which is horrible to go against Marvel as this generic superhero game. Yeah. But also it was like the 3rd MDS game in a row we did, and people thought they were just like sick of like, I have enough MDS games, even though we felt it was so different. And I think it was also, there was another game that hadn't been fulfilled yet, so it was like 3 strikes against this campaign. That I'm surprised it funded at all. Yeah. But I'm really curious, like people that have played it, how much they like it, and like, do you think it's something that they'd like to see more of, or they miss it or something?
I don't think I've ever really, and this is kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent, but I don't think I've ever really outgrown my like desire and my like just kind of appreciation for sort of like, I hate using the word knockoffs, because like superheroes are such a weird thing, because you have so many, because in the 90s, 80s and 90s, they just like pooped out superhero characters. They took all the good names, but when you have these kind of like off-brand companies, like I know Sentinels of the Multiverse was popular because they had like their own superheroes, kind of like alternate versions of iconic heroes. I've always liked that. I just like, and like The Boys is super popular, and it might be because it's like the satirical approach to it, but I still love that whole like, oh, it's like the knockoff Captain America, and
But boy, do I hate the name The Deep.
Oh yeah,
like for a superhero.
Yeah, just like when you have a character, it's like but yeah, that's something I'm partial to. So like we always kind of return to talking about Hour of Need in one form or another, because it is kind of like that special kid that we just feel like didn't get the attention it deserved.
I think it was also the one game we did at Blacklist that this might also apply to Alter Quest, but I don't feel the same about it. But like Hour of Need was a game we built the entire IP and direction like ourselves, even though we were just doing silly characters and stuff. Like it was all us, we created all that stuff. So it's like our creation, except for the Divine Law expansion.
Yeah, there was
Divine Law expansion was a Blacklist.
There were some
suggestion, but
there were some character designs and some character archetypes that we didn't really care for. They weren't our choice. The core game, most of the core game was like really what I pushed for, like because I wrote all the backstory stuff, and then of course like the Gem and Ice is like 100% like our cosmic themed.
Honestly, I think Judge and Jury is the biggest knockoff. Like other things aren't really; they're more like inspirations.
Yeah.
But
because like Micro Guy, it's like this kind of mashup of like Iron Man and Ant-Man in a way, but like the story behind it I thought was pretty interesting. So like it doesn't really fall into that same.
Well, it's same with like Iceman. Iceman is a mixture of Cyclops and Iceman. And probably something else, but like just inspiration of things I think were cool.
You said Iceman. You meant Ice.
That's what I said.
You said Ice. You said Iceman.
I thought
you said Iceman as inspiration.
I thought you said same with Ice, but also Jim is like a mixture of like Vision and Green Lantern like combined together. It's they're inspirations, but they're not just like straight rips. But like Judge and Jury is like Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that was supposed to be, and like I thought it was funny. It wasn't supposed to be like a joke, but I still thought it was kind of interesting. Where it's like these. First of all, the reason that came about was I was like wrestling. So I'm a big Robin fan, obviously. So I was wrestling with like who like this Robin character would be, and I figured it'd be cool to make like a young woman be Robin. Even though like my least favorite Robin was the Kelt, whatever the name was from The Dark Knight Returns. I didn't like that version. But anyway, I was like wrestling with a way to do like a Batman style character, and I couldn't figure it out. But then I found out there was never. Like I never saw like a iconic comic book character named Judge, and it was like, oh, that's like someone who's going around judging like criminals. That's great. And then like Jury, it's like the hero of the people, because Robin was always like the kid friendly, like they threw in Robin to make him be like the rally of the teen kids who like, oh, I could be Batman's partner. So like Jury was like kind of like the person of the people. I thought it was a cool little like
honestly
concept.
If it wasn't for the one-liner that looks so much like Joker, it probably wouldn't feel as much of a knockoff. But like those three all together, is okay. That's clearly like Batman.
I think I've told the story before, but like just for the sake of this podcast, funny backstory. Because if you're not familiar, you can go look at the Kickstarter page for Hour of Need, or go to the BGG page or whatever. There was a box, because this is a cool product model where the Hour of Need was a 1 to 4 player game. And the expansions were standalone games, so you could buy the Judge and Jury box, and you could play as Judge and Jury 1 to 2 player. And it had 2 stages to play plus the boss, which was one-liner. But originally I designed this character to be named Punchline, because it was this character who was really good at punching. It was a big, strong, huge, like Joker-style woman. But at the same time we were developing this, like I thought it was crazy, because I named this character Punchline. But how has no one ever done Punchline as a character, But then DC comes out with a news thing right when we're done with development for Hour of Need, and their new character is Joker's girlfriend, Punchline. And I was like, oh my god, of all times to do this to me. So I had to like rename the character, and like one-liner worked, but it was nowhere near as like it was. You could tell it was built around the whole idea of this character like punchline. So yeah, it was a funny little side story.
Named a Punchliner.
yeah. Some weird. Because like I was trying to think of other ways. Like one-liner is obviously it's kind
of about rim shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange alternatives you can do. But yeah, it was total bummer, because I was so excited that nobody had taken that, and of course DC had it in their back pocket the whole time and just didn't tell anybody about it.
Was Heckler a name for a villain? That would have worked too, right? Heckler.
Well, that's like the opposite though. It's like I'd have to rechange it, like kind of reconfigure the character's appearance and everything, because like that's like the antithesis of a Joker character.
Isn't that villain though? Like just a twist on a name. I don't know. It could have worked. But anyway, yeah. Just that big tangent on that because we've been thinking about that game more. But we're gonna probably play it this week with our game group just because we haven't played it in a while. And I think somebody on our Discord, I think it was Scotty. Scotty said, he said, "Hey, I whipped out Hour of Need, and man, that game was so underappreciated." And it's like, yeah, I haven't played that in a while. Let's whip that out again.
And I hear that a lot, and it's like, and I've actually listened to some podcasts that talk about. They always reference us as like the MDS guys because clearly we had a lot of games that were like that modular approach. But I've heard several people say like, oh yeah, Hour of Need was their best, and it's funny. It's nice hearing that, but it's like it's weird because it didn't get any attention at the time, and maybe it's one of those things where it's kind of before its time. Or
I think when we were working on Freedom 5 with Richard Lanius, he mentioned that was one of his favorites of ours. Like he loved it.
Yeah. He keeps pushing me to redo the game. He's like, "Oh, you got to redo that game. Just make a new setting or whatever." I was like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like the game works just fine. We have the system. We could do whatever we want with it. But like, we just really liked those characters we made and like the appearance of it. It's a cool product. Very cool product.
Yeah. So let us know what you feel. Like, do you like that game? Do you think it's cool? Would you want to play it again?
Speaking of which, if you're not on our Discord, go join our Discord. You can access it from www.twintailstudios.com or our social sites.
www. You don't need to say that.
www. The people have to like still type.
You say Twintail. If you go to twintailstudios.com.
You do
Google figures it out.
you do the call outs then.
Google Twin Tail Studios.
So I think that's pretty much the most of the updates because like right now with the release of Ransom Creek Remains, it's obviously our main push is making sure that's getting out there, getting visibility, getting read, reviewed, review it, read it and review it.
I think that we said this last time, but like the design for Malice Light Adventures is in great shape. Like we're making great progress on that, and I think next month is going to be even more exciting because I think we're going to get started on the map tile art for the game. I'm not sure when we'll tease that, but also Tom Mason will be starting working on the sculpts pretty soon because he's working on his Kickstarter for the if you haven't checked it out, there's the Goblin Menace. I think it's Goblin Heroes Kickstarter is what it's called.
Goblin Menace Heroes, yeah.
So he did these hero versions of his cute little goblin sculpts. So if you're looking for some goblins, check that out. It's on Kickstarter right now. I think it wraps up pretty soon.
I think it was like when I checked it yesterday, I think it was 7 days. So
yeah, I think it ends at the end of the month.
It's overfunded, so it's on the stretch goal.
Yeah, so he's working on those, but once he's done and wraps the Kickstarter up and ships all out, he's going to be shifting his focus onto sculpting some miniatures for Malice of Light Adventures, and we can't wait to see what he does with it. So we will probably be sharing those as soon as we can, on our social media pages and stuff, and probably Discord. Discord users probably get an early glimpse at it. We're gonna treat our Discord users with some early reveals of things like that. So.
Yeah, I've been told to like keep my Facebook posting relegated to Discord if possible. That way, like, because I used to be bad at just posting preliminary stuff a lot just to share with people who were
used to be. You still do that.
It's not as bad. But also, we will kind of talk to, and this kind of comes up as well in the Discord because we are kind of open about the projects we're working on. Because a lot of publishers keep things like close to the. Is it close to the chest or close to the vest? I always think it's chest.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, but I think
you wear your vest on your chest. So
yeah, but it's like I never know what the saying actually is. But we're a little. I think we want to be a little more transparent because we like to talk about projects we want to do to kind of gauge interest. And one thing is gauge a character in Malice Light. Go pick Malice Light up. It's available right now on Amazon. I was actually writing book 3 and I'm doing a gauge chapter, so it just kind of came at the right time. Anyway, our one thing we're talking about a lot is our next game after the Malice Light Adventures, which is crazy because we're still working on this. We haven't launched the Kickstarter or whatever the crowdfunding is going to be, but we're always exploring like possibilities. And I think like the one thing I want to do really bad is after I finish book 3 of the Malice Light, I'd love to shift gears and work on book 3 of Relic Myers, unless we end up doing like the match night thing or the we've talked about a couple other ideas as well, because I feel like whatever book I'm working on is going to determine what like game we do, because it's great cross promotion, but it also just keeps the creative energies aligned. But I would love to do the Relic Myers board game next. That's I've been like kind of tweak it, like not like working on it like aggressively or anything. Like, I'm not focusing on that because I'm obviously focusing my attentions on the Mouse Light Adventures. But I'm curious to see if anybody would have, some interest in a Relic Myers board game, because I think it'd be pretty freaking cool. I got some tons of ideas of what it could be. So
we think it would be something along the lines of like a modern updated version of like the old Arkham Horror style game, where you're like going through town, doing like little adventures and stuff like that, trying to stop some big villain from destroying the world or whatever, much like the old Arkham Horror style board game, but played in shorter time frame,
and with more concise stories to tell, more like modular aspects. Because like one thing, and this is kind of another tangent we can go down if we want, but one thing that kind of bothered me, even though I appreciate a lot of like old FFG stuff, like we got into board games through Fantasy Flight Games heyday, but I didn't like that whole approach with expansions where it's like just make all the decks as big as possible, shove in as much like variety as possible, where it's hard to store, it's hard to set up, it becomes such a bloat. Where I would like to do a game like that where it's much more socketable, where you can like socket these experiences in and it's like more focused. You still have that variety, you can because you can pick and choose what you want to include, but it's just easier to store, easier to like digest. So it's like the same concept, but done with more of like we got to think of a term for like how we approach the product model of like setup, teardown, storage. I think it's like almost just as important to me as like gameplay itself.
This is a kind of a tangent, but you mentioned like the old school FFG, and that's something that like when we started this company, like it was something we want to kind of recreate, is that feeling of like that old school, like how FFG used to be, like how they used to treat their games. But the funny thing was I saw this video on YouTube that I was watching, I think like earlier this week or something. It was called The Rise and Fall of FFG, and someone shared it in like the FFG alum Facebook group or whatever. But I was watching it, and some of it was kind of interesting, but I was very offended that I was not even mentioned in like all these people who used to work there have done other things in games. It's like, come on, man.
The funny thing is I was listening to if anyone's out there is familiar with the Earthborn games. Earthborn Rangers was a pretty popular card game Adam and I worked on early on in its infancy, but they have a podcast as well. And it's funny, I was listening to their most recent episode when I was taking a walk, and they actually brought that up because a lot of them are ex-FFG staff as well. So they were saying this is, I would tell you to go watch this, but please don't, because it's so like misinformed. It has it makes no effort to do any journalistic investigation.
Research.
Yeah, it's all just kind of like fan speculation.
I did see they credited Brian Schomburg as the artist because his brother did the art for Twilight Imperium, and like they credit Brian Schomburg as the artist. Like, dude, he's the graphic designer there.
Well, it's funny because I think it was Andrew Navarro who's head of he's like the creative head of Earthborn Studios or Earthborn Games, and he was saying how it's funny because like you have these guys like Kevin Wilson, Corey Kineska, like all these people who probably are pretty accessible if you wanted to talk to them and get it from the horse's mouth, but like instead it's just like this, here's all my speculations about why this happened.
Anyway, I don't think the person who made the video was trying to like come off as like,
no, it was all for entertainment value. It's all just
so it's just I think he made a disclaimer saying that he's he doesn't know how much of this is true, it's just his own opinions and stuff like that, which is fine. But I was like, man, he referenced to Descent Second Edition multiple times. I'm like, dude, at least throw my name in there. It's on the box right there.
You gotta be used to it, man. We just don't. We're not big enough deal for the board game.
It is weird how like I feel like a lot of people know our games and stuff like that, but for some reason, we feel like people overlook us a lot. So.
It's because like they think that you're just from the Adam Sandler movies, and they don't even like realize that I'm a real person. Because I remember when I worked at FFG, I think like people thought I was you sometimes, like certain people that are above our station at the company, like we just like assumed that we were the same person or something. So it's weird how like you think that there's certain aspects about us that might be like a little more memorable, but it's funny how easily we can kind of just fall away.
I still remember, I won't say names, but I remember like specifically when I was at FFG and I was working on Descent Second Edition I was doing the design work, and I was talking to some people about like the design and stuff and the product, and someone I said something about maybe my name will be on the box because I'm the designer, because they credit designers, and someone made a comment like, well, you're no Corey Koniska or something like that. I'm like,
won't move
it doesn't matter like what I've done before, like I did this game, so I mean I should be credited as the designer. I was like, it was just so like I just took that to like, I don't know, that's been with me for like years now.
I think it's that weird mentality where like they internally they feel like it's like they don't want to like celebritize designers, but then they treat that naming thing, like that credit thing, as like a celebrity status, when it's really just like it's just credit.
It's just what you've done.
Yeah.
This is the games you've done. You know, Corey's worked on a lot of games.
Yeah. It's like a resume. You know, you gotta have like the resume listing. So.
And by the way, that's not to diminish Corey's work at all. Corey's a great designer. Like
Corey,
I actually worked under Corey at FFG for years. Like he was my manager and stuff. So.
Yeah, we've been longtime friends with Corey. He's a cool guy. He's been like my main beta reader for like almost every book I've written. He's like been my first reader and giving feedback. And I'm actually working with him now on a project. He's a busy guy, but
it is weird that I've carried that like as an insult for so many years, even though I'm friends with Corey. Like just like you're no Corey Koniska.
Corey's like pokes his head around the corner. What?
You talking about me? You pronounce my name right?
So yeah, that's kind of like that. That was our studio update, but it went on a big tangent about Hour of Need and Arkham Horror and FFG and all kinds of
recognition trauma.
Yeah, recognition trauma. Like credits. But we can talk about like maybe just move into like what we've been playing lately. Like because I've been actually a little more busy on the playing stuff.
I've just been plowing through the Diablo 4 Season 9 stuff because I saw this leak. I think I mentioned the last time where there was this leak about the Paladin being like leaked that's coming for Diablo 4, which is something I've been wanting for a while because Diablo 4 has been kind of stagnant for a while, but I would love to play the Paladin in it. But there was lots of talk about the expansion being revealed at Gamescom. Like everybody was just assured or assumed that was going to happen. And then Gamescom was like one of the most boring events I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's
like 3 days of nothing.
I mean, I know you said this before, like you were talking to me, like saying, "Oh, the layoffs are probably catching up to the industry." It's like it's probably true. It's just crazy how there's like it's supposed to be the biggest convention for video games, but they just talked about the same games over and over again.
Yeah, they had these like 4-hour Xbox, two days of 4-hour Xbox coverage, and like they spent so much time just sitting there with developers and stuff talking like about the same game and like just little details about stuff that wasn't even that interesting.
Yeah,
but it's like I was expecting some cool reveals and exciting stuff, but no, for me, I think the only thing that came out of that was there was a cool looking He-Man beat 'em up game that was coming out. That, cool. I like those retro beat 'em up games. There was something else, like an announcement for there was an Enshrouded update. Enshrouded's a cool game. And I think that was pretty much it.
It's weird, yeah, because I think like outside of the main like AAA stuff, I saw quite a few like cool little indie things they highlighted, but they were so mashed together with stuff that I kind of forgot them now. But like there were quite a few that were cool that weren't being featured in these like repetitive like AAA showcases.
And I mean, I feel bad saying that because I'm sure there are lots of games that people are excited about and like they're just not for me. Whatever. I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to
Call of Duty 7.
I'm not trying to like dump on other people's fun or whatever, but like for me, I was like there was nothing that I was excited about, which was a bummer.
And side note, how can you have an Xbox stream where you're dedicating like almost like 90 minutes of screen time to a game that can't be played on Xbox? Like World of Warcraft it's a great game. I would love to play on Xbox. I would love to revisit that game. But they spent like an hour and a half talking about this game. You can't even play on Xbox. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's really weird. I know the Xbox has like some kind of a platform on PC where you can play play anywhere games, but you play World of Warcraft through the Battle.net launcher, and like it's a PC game. I mean, Xbox owns it, and I know they want to try to promote it, but like if you're going to talk about World of Warcraft on an Xbox stream, make it for Xbox so we can play it on Xbox. I would totally play World of Warcraft on Xbox. That'd be fun. It'd be fun to go back and do some nostalgia runs. But anyway, that tangent was just about Diablo 4 because I was playing Season 9 because of that tease. I'm like, oh, cool. The Paladin's coming out. I'm gonna finally get around to unlocking that baby goat pet in the Battle Pass from Season 9. And then I kind of got sucked into it, and it's fun to build a character up and try to unlock all the cosmetics and everything like that. So I've been playing Diablo 4, but I only have like 2 more things to unlock, and then I'm done with it for the season. I'm getting a little sick of the sorcerer. I wish I could play as a paladin, but
2 more days, man. Helldivers. Because I've been really I'm always feeling late to the party on these things, but I've revisited Tomb Raider because it's on Game Pass, and they had Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so they had like 2 and 3 out of the Survivor trilogy, and I just blew through Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's such an incredible game, like such a fun, satisfying game, and I almost got 100%, except for like there was like one high dive part I couldn't trigger the dive right, which is ridiculous because every other dive it's like you just jump and press the L trigger, but there's like one part, and I read on like some subreddit where people were having the same issue where it just wouldn't trigger, so I couldn't get my 100%, so I just moved on to Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I'm playing now, and it's just such an enjoyable game. Like I just love climbing around things and using like the rappel system in the Shadows one, and just cool, super cool game. And I like these kind of resource management games or like crafting games where it's not too tedious. It's more just like you're getting these supplies to unlock things, and it's like it just feels very satisfying in that process. Where there are games like, you know, some of these crafting games like Stardew Valley, which is not the best example because like that one's kind of fluid, but they're like, I think Enshrouded can feel kind of like bogged down in the crafting. It's like there's a lot of you can do, but I just like the whole stockpiling resources and then like spending them on something like really simplistic, you know. But so yeah, that's why I've been playing a lot of that besides the normal, you know, we do that every day morning Marvel Rivals, and we still keep getting those Ravens Watch runs in every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm sick of those. I like the game, but like
it's hard not to like. To me, it's like a mindless activity that just it's a relaxing, comforting pillow.
The thing is, after playing it so many times, it's still fun to start. But like once you hit Act 3 or whatever, it's like okay, you know, like I got my build going and we're good to go. Now we should finish it up.
You can just stop.
That's not satisfying either. It's that's the problem. It's like it's not satisfying unless you play it all the way through. So
yeah, I forgot to do we went to like what we've been playing. We didn't do listener questions.
I have a lot of them.
Yeah, let's do those because that's supposed to be the order because it's like that's company stuff. Then we just talk about fun stuff.
How much time we got left?
Yeah, it's only been 41 minutes. We got.
Right, well, we're gonna do some listener questions here. So these are going back a few days or whatever, but I'm trying to catch up to. We have a podcast channel in the Discord. I should probably make a separate one just for questions because there is some podcast discussion. So I'm gonna try to filter through that. But Blackheart Paladin asked, he knows we mentioned it in an earlier podcast, probably joint operations, but are you still considering potentially doing video for the podcast? And I would say, ideally, yes, we would. Did you order, what are you pointing at?
I got the stand there for the backdrop.
Did you order the backdrop?
Yep.
Okay, so Brady ordered a backdrop with some cool art on it that we would use for live streams or any kind of video stuff. I think if we wanted to actually film our podcast, we probably need a second laptop or something just because one to handle the audio, one to handle the video, unless Brady finds some combo.
This can do both. I mean,
we'll experiment with some setups. You know, we haven't actually have experience with it, so like if you have suggestions, feel free to drop them in there. But we will definitely look into that because we don't edit our podcast anyway. And if we did have to edit the podcast, we could just edit the video as well. It's not a big deal. He said he was definitely hoping that when the crowdfunding happens, we'll do Q&A sessions for our games because he always enjoyed that. And
yeah, ideally our updates will be videos because I personally I would vastly prefer to watch the people from the horse's mouth when it comes to an update because I don't enjoy reading as much as I enjoy reading. I don't enjoy reading through a big update. Like I like seeing the pictures and stuff, and that's it. We'll do that, but I'd much rather do like a video update, and then we would have AI transcribe it for the actual like text of the update.
And also another question from Blackheart Paladin. He was asking what kind of dice we were thinking for Mouse Light Adventures. Anything fancy or just solid color? He would really love to see he really loved the look of the Alter Quest dice. Just saying.
Those are the blue ones, right? Like
they're teal.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them too. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm a little indifferent there because I kind of like just standard solid colors. Like I like that look. Like for example, we were looking at Hour of Need and I was pulling those dice out. And I just like the look of them, like, you know, just classic dice. But I'm not opposed to translucent dice.
If we didn't have a budget issue, I would love to have like, because it's 6 dice, I would love to have one of each color of key shards, like because there's 6 key shards. But like a translucent version.
Having translucent dice isn't that big deal. We would just quote it out. But I don't have a strong opinion on that myself. So I think we'll
translucent
explore it.
dice.
So
I would like translucent dice, but it'd be hard to decide on a color because I think we did Ultra Quest and teal because like you like blue, I like green. It's like big a compromise, but with Malice of Light, I'm not sure what the color.
I figure there'd be blue and red, blue hero dice, red enemy dice, but that's just me.
One of those has got to be green.
Okay, fine. Green enemy dice or green hero dice. I don't care.
Green dice, blue dice. Who gives?
Question for the show. This is Blackheart Paladin. He's good with questions. What are your most hated parts of making a game for crowdfunding?
Trying to figure out what people want.
Reveals, playtesting, questions, comments. Do you think it will be better now that guys are in full control?
Yes, it will be.
I think it will be yes, because we can actually speak with authority on things, and we can actually decide on changes we make. We don't have to like get things approved or whatever. We can just say we're going to do this because we know what you want. I think the most challenging part of crowdfunding is that it's hard to convey to people what your full idea is, what your vision is, because all you can do is show graphics and prototypes and stuff like that. But like, when it's not until you get the final game that you see what the actual vision is. And yes, it's cool to have backers kind of like help contribute to that with ideas and stuff like that. But a lot of times those ideas are already considered, and like you don't want to shoot them down, but it's like we've considered that. That's not to say there aren't new ideas. There's always new ideas that people can present. But I think the most challenging part is communicating your total vision with just a GameFound page and live streams like that. It's hard to convey that final vision.
Yeah, and it's easy to like make suggestions, and this is not to denigrate anybody who suggests things during a Kickstarter but like when you don't have all the context from like what you mentioned before, like what's been tried early on in the development or what's been thought about from a production standpoint. So like it's easy to spit out suggestions, and it's really easy to get frustrated if you think those aren't being listened to or
that has happened
considered.
To us in the past, yeah.
So like that's tricky. It's hard to engage with that when you don't want to shoot something down or like give it a negative reaction, or just ignore it completely. But so yeah, there is that aspect of it, because you do want to have the back and forth, the interaction. You want to have that feeling of everyone contributing to make a cool product. Like it's not just the publisher and the designers making this product. It's like it is everybody's joint effort because it's the funding, it's the energy behind it. Like a lot of that has to do with it. So all that being said, it's hard to balance. Like there's a lot of stuff swirling around there, and it's all kinds of different mentalities, and that it's really hard to just keep it all cohesive. So from an abstract standpoint, it's just kind of like it's hard to keep the vibes in check in a way.
I think it's also like inherent. Crowdfunding comes with this inherent obsession with content. Like, oh my god, is this enough content to keep me enjoying?
Yeah, it's that budget shopping mentality. Yeah. Like, what's the best deal I can get? It's like you're not here for a deal. We're all here to make a product happen, and it's like you got to remind yourself that it's like it's not about the discount bin shopping.
Well, it just sucks because there are so many crowdfunding projects that launch around the same time, and so people have a limited budget. So I understand that, but it's like you just have to go with what you're excited about, and not focus on exactly like the most bang for your buck. It's really just what you think is cool and what you want to see be made.
Yeah. One thing that's easy to lose sight on is because I've backed a lot of games personally. I'm a fan. I back tons of Kickstarters or crowdfunding projects, and there have been lots of ones that have tons of content and like tons of boxes and tons of stuff, but then I've had games where it's like just a box, and I've had more fun with that. So it's like it's hard to gauge what you're gonna have fun with based on like how much content you're getting, how many like physical things you're getting, because it can just boil down to like whether or not that game clicks with you. So it's hard to just gauge on that alone.
It's really hard to do this, but I would love to be like involved in this like kind of renaissance of what I talked about before, where like let's just go back to releasing a game. Like let's just focus on making a cool game and get more people involved in a single game, as opposed to like getting these people to spend as much money as possible on every project, like tons of add-ons and like that. I feel like it's the whole CMON mentality where they were just like, you go to a Marvel United Kickstarter and it's like, I'm going to spend $500 on products here. It's like, no, let's just do like $100 game and get as many people as possible to get involved and make this game happen. They get it. If they enjoy it, okay, let's make more of that stuff for that. I would love to see that like kind of trend happen in games, where let's just make more cool games and not like all your expansions all at once. That's just I say that, but I say that like not as a sweeping statement, because there are definitely times when I get caught up and I want, like Lands of Evershade, for example. I'm excited about that game because all that product looked really exciting, and I was excited to get it all. So there's room for both, but I would love to have more appreciation for things like that, where it's like, let's just fund this cool new game idea, and not have to worry about a bunch of expansions all at once. Anyway, that's the way we're going, regardless of.
Yeah, at least for this one, because I mean, well, even when we have more prep time and more capital, we're still never going to go that route where we have. Well, I mean, I guess you just never say never, because things can change. But like, I don't ever want to be somebody where we're launching a game, we expect somebody to drop $600 on 20 boxes.
Yeah, I don't ever like want to do that myself. Like, I mean, that's just me. That was, by the way, that was from Blackheart Paladin. I wanted to mention he's like one of our star playtesters.
He's my boy. Yeah, he's one of my main beta readers too. He's read like every book I've ever written. Like, he's amazing feedback from games and fiction, literature. He's fantastic.
And I will just use their Discord usernames because I'm not sure if they want me to use their real names.
If they grant us permission.
If you do want me to use your real name in podcast questions, if you let me know, I'll be happy to do so. But
I think I might have accidentally used it one time, so apologies. But yeah.
I don't know if they'll care. Next question is from Zeke, who is also another one of our all-star playtesters. Tons of great feedback. He's played like 4 times this weekend.
Yeah, he's got like hundreds of like Street Masters games under his belt too.
I think I saw him in Blackheart Paladin actually playing a 2-player game, and I hopped in to answer a question. So thanks for all your testing, guys. It's been super helpful. Zeke says, enjoyed the latest episode of the pod. Too many books to read now. I guess it's a good problem to have. Question: would you consider making an IP game for something not created by you, if asked, or is the goal of the studio to only produce games based on your own IP?
I will preface this, and this is not at all a criticism on Zeke, because this is commonly used, but this is a term that I get picky about, just because like all games are IPs. Like, everything's intellectual property, but it means like, would you make a licensed game, as if we're licensing another property from somebody else? So this
or maybe just somebody else is like a freelance designer who just wants to make a new game where they make up their own world. It's like a new setting.
But I think the question though is asking if we want to license a game, like if we want to like work with a licensor to work like become a licensee for a license. And to answer that question, it's not ideal, but we never say never, because like, for example, if we had a chance to do a State of Decay game, I probably would try to talk you into it, because I would be like, oh, we got to do this, just because it's a passion project. But
it all depend on the deal, obviously.
Because we would always lean more toward, even if we like a different property, we'd probably want to do our own spin on it, because like, we're always like, at least me, I'm always so theme picky, where I want to have full control, and I don't want to have some licensee say, oh no, you can't, or sorry, licensor. Yeah, I always get those backwards. If some licensor saying, oh, you can't do that with our property, do this instead, I get annoyed. I want to do like what I want to do. So plus, I just like writing books, and if we can like make our own IP and write a book around it and do a game, that's always going to be ideal.
I mean, and also if like the biggest IP in the world came with the biggest license fell into our lap and said, hey, we want you to make a
Willow game,
a Severance board game, or something, some hot show or something, like, it's like it'd be hard to pass up. But
remember that on Weapons, where he's like, oh, Willow.
And he had a follow-up question. If the studio makes it big, which I hope it does, hey, me too, would you consider trying to regain old IPs like Brook City or Hour of Need to make more content for it, or do you feel done with those properties at this point?
Hour of Need, yeah, I'd want to get that back.
This is very topical, because as we've been talking about this in this episode, we have been thinking more and more about that, and we are very interested in trying to explore ways to acquire that product line, because it is something we cared about.
We noticed specifically when Steamforged Games.
Yes, it was. We should say it was inspired when Steamforged Games acquired Street Masters.
Because they picked up Street Masters, they picked up Ultra Quest, but they weren't interested in Brook City or Hour of Need, which is ironic, because I felt like those were the 2 IPs that were probably the most unique, and like I did want to get myself. So those are not acquired by Steamforged Games. So like, yeah, we have lots of conversations about like, oh, what if we got this back?
Now obviously we have nothing to say about that yet, other than that's definitely something we're interested in doing. Maybe even before the company makes it big. But I will mention that I don't think we're as interested in Brook City, mainly because that was like the game, the concept was cool, but it was really just like we've mentioned before. It was like a big, huge hodgepodge of like pop culture references and stuff.
Yeah, I don't consider that a property at all. The name was cool, the logo was cool, but it's not really a property in my mind because we had no real say. Like we weren't making a property. We were pretty much just like abiding by whatever Blacklist wanted to do. Like, oh, they want to have like Mel Gibson in this. They want to.
And they also did stuff like we specifically said we wanted to make it 90s themed. And like the art would come in with like we wanted a utility van for one of the cards, and they did like a modern utility van from like the 2000s.
Which is so ugly.
Yeah, it's like that is not a 90s van. But lots of things like that where it didn't make sense. But all that being said, we would definitely consider doing something like Brook City in one of our own settings, like Ransom Creek Remains,
which is available now today.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you brought up Hour of Need because, like Scotty mentioned, at the same time, like around the same time, and it's something we've been thinking more about.
That's the one that keeps haunting me, keeps me up at night because it's one that we put a lot of care into, a lot of thought into, and we love superheroes, and yeah, the game is great. So.
Also, again, to follow up on that, like, let us know if you think that's interesting. Like, if you think that we should pursue Hour of Need, because that if that's something that if we released ourselves, would that be something that would be exciting? Like, we'd love to know how you feel about that. I think that he made a comment saying he never thought he'd get more Street Masters after the whole Blacklist stuff. One of the greatest stories in gaming was unboxing the new Street Masters expansions and playing the crap out of them this year. So yeah, thanks again to Steamforge for providing those for backers who missed out on it, and those who wanted new stuff. That whole situation was inspiring for us because that the opportunity about like Hour of Need came up like last year or something when Steamforge got that stuff, but Brady and I didn't have a publishing company, so we had no reason to like pursue any kind of properties because we couldn't do anything with them. We were actually just trying to drive publishers to that, saying, hey, go check this out, maybe Blacklist might be interested in selling. But now that we are a publisher, we would actually be more interested in owning it, so something we'll look into.
Yep. So yeah, that's our listener questions. You haven't been reading anything, have you? You haven't been reading books? Or like
no.
watching because you talked about playing.
I did.
Watching or
I was watching Event Horizon, but I didn't get finished it yesterday. I watched the Biggest Loser documentary, which was interesting. Back when we lived in Minnesota, I don't know did your wife have like all the DVDs or something? Because
I forget. I think she just watched them. Like on cable,
for some reason, like I was living at your house at the time, and like I just got caught up in watching The Biggest Loser marathons.
I think we just watched it on because I remember.
No, it was definitely like binging. Like it was either streaming. I don't know if it was streaming a thing back then. I don't remember how long ago that was.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
So it must have been streaming somewhere because I watched like all the seasons back to back because it was just always on. And it's funny watching this documentary because I kind of knew about all the stuff, but it was interesting to see more detailed back.
It's funny how much you speculate when you watch that garbage that like when you're watching it you kind of feel dirty in a way, but you don't know why. And when you watch it now like so removed, you're like, okay, that's why I felt weird about watching this. You just kind of feel like when it has somebody like some bigger person running on a treadmill and they fall off and the camera shakes violently like as if it's like rocking the entire room. It's like why do that? That's not needed.
It's all TV. It's all for TV.
Yeah. I watched the first 2 episodes of that. It's interesting.
There's only 3 episodes, so you're almost done.
Yeah.
I did watch the new Alien Earth episode, which I am enjoying it. Yeah. Like I think it's a fun show.
I think we mentioned this on the last episode. I was just kind of confused about like the critical reviews, like on like publications, have been pretty positive. But then I see people posting like their own takes on their social medias, and it's like people hate it. I'm like, why do you hate it? And it's like maybe it's people who are just really into the IP and they love the horror of the first one or something. I don't know, but this one's not very scary. It's more just an exploration of the world. But I think it's pretty fun. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
I did like it. I think that was the only. I watched the first episode of season 2 of Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed it, but man, did I not enjoy the change in the intro, like the choreography.
You know, it's funny. I listened to James Gunn because I listened to the DC podcast because they have, like, with HBO now, they have like their own DC little I think it's called DC Showcase podcast. But he did like a wrap up of the first episode, and it was fun. It was like the guy who plays Rick Flag Sr. and then the girl that played, I forget her name and the character's name. It was
Nose
like,
ring.
What's
Nose
that?
ring girl.
Well, she was like the person in the office with him, you know. They were there, plus James Gunn and his wife Jennifer, and then Steve Agee, who plays economist. They host the podcast, and it's interesting to listen to. But it's funny to listen to James Gunn talk about that intro because they were like, oh yeah, I mean this was really fun. I mean, it's hard to top the first one, and James was like, well, you can't top the first one. The first one was a phenomenon. Nobody expected it. Now everyone expects it, and it's like that sums it up really well because, like, I didn't like it either, but it's because the first one was so unexpected and so, like, just so monumental that, like, I always had to listen to it. I mean, no matter how many times I watched that show over and over again, I could never skip the intro.
I think the song's also catchier too.
It is,
it's just a more powerful song. The new one is much softer.
There's a lot of elements to it, but, like, now I feel like when I rewatch the new season, I'll always be able to skip that song really, really easily. Even though it's fun, it's well done, it's well choreographed and everything, but I did feel that certain, like,
I mean, they had to do it because they have so many new characters to feature and stuff like that. So, like, obviously they had to do it, but I wish they would have done a different song or something.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel as cool.
Yeah, that song, I think it's some Foxy something. I forget the band's name, but he mentioned it on the podcast. They were like they listened to their music. They had two songs in the episode. They had the intro song, and they played that song, the Dreamer song, when John Cena goes into the other dimension.
Spoiler?
Yeah, well, if you haven't watched, that's not much of a spoiler, but it was a great episode. The funny thing is I watched that with my daughter, and, like, it's funny in the podcast, James Gunn's like, this is probably an episode you don't want to watch with young kids in the room. And my daughter's not young, she's like 13, and she's seen a lot of stuff on TV, so she thought it was kind of funny where it's like the dancing penis guy. But
why are you saying spoilers, man?
It's not a spoiler. It's not story related at all. Anyway, it was a great episode. I'm really excited about that season. I love that show. Peacemakers is a great show. I also watched the Office UK. So that's I
thought you were gonna say, like, the new Office.
No.
Is that out? The paper one?
I think the first episode.
I haven't had any interest in watching that. No.
As far as, like, what I've been reading, I'm so slow lately. I haven't been reading as much as I'd want. I've been preoccupied designing games, but I'm still working on Mark A. Latham's Last Vigilant, and I've been pecking my way through the first Witcher novel. Oh, we had a question, I thought, about The Witcher.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that he tagged you, so I skipped it, but he tagged you on a question. So it's he was asking about The Witcher. He said now that you now
I think I know what it
watching
was.
now that you've been watching or reading The Witcher.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Like,
yeah, because he was asking if I liked the movies or the show or the video games, and it's easy for me because I haven't really consumed anything Witcher related. I've played 20 minutes of the video game Witcher 3, I think, because I got it on sale on Steam. So I've tried the intro out, but I haven't played enough to really have an opinion on it. And I've only watched the first episode of the Witcher TV show, and I didn't really continue. And it wasn't because I didn't like it; it's just because I didn't really, got distracted with other stuff. So it seemed pretty cool. But the book so far, I don't love the book, but I really appreciate the setting, and I think, like, I'll probably like later books. This first book, The Blood of Elves, or just Blood of Elves, it feels really disjointed, like it's kind of episodic in a way where it's like 7 chapters long, but every chapter is like 60 pages long, and every chapter feels like it's a different period in time, so it's just like a kind of a disjointed story. But it's good writing, and it's an interesting world they're building, or he's building. So I'll probably like the overall setting when I get to later books, but yeah, I'm not loving the first book so far. So that's The Witcher. It's cool though. But yeah, that's an episode. That's a whole Twin Tail Studios podcast episode.
Thanks for those questions, everybody. That really gives us some content. So.
And go join our Discord. So you can submit your own questions, ask about our future endeavors, and then pick up Ransom Creek Remains on Amazon. And you can also get it through bookstores because we're available through Ingram Spark, so you can order wherever you want. It's nice if you get it from Amazon because you can put reviews in, go review it on Goodreads, make sure people know about it so we can make some cool games in that setting and they're actually relevant. So yeah.
Spread the word.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you maybe next week or the week after.
See you later.